too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money and the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And it's a Saturday, and so I thought I would come in and say hello. What's going on Instagram? My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. So if you want to keep it real, follow us on Instagram at The Real Boyce Watkins. And also, some of you may be watching on Twitter, actually. Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins 1, Dr. Boyce Watkins, and the number 1. I'm always thinking, I'm always tweeting. I have these thoughts in my head, and sometimes I got to let them out. And I wanted to quickly jump in and give you guys the results of a survey that I took. You guys know I'm a financial scientist, and one of the things that we believe in is something that a lot of people don't seem to believe in, which is data and information and facts. And so in my quest for data, information, and facts, I took a survey. I surveyed you guys. Now, mind you, you guys are not the average Negroes. You are not, you're not, say, the Roland Martin crowd. No disrespect to Roland or his crowd, but I think this is one of those moments where you kind of feel like you kind of say some Black people are different from others. Now, how do I qualify intelligence? Intelligence to me does not mean that you agree with everything I say. Intelligence means that you at least have the capacity to internalize perspectives other than your own and at least process that and try to appreciate that. So just so you know, you don't have to agree with us in order to be here. I want to make that 100% clear. In fact, actually, that leads to my first point, which connects to the B1 philosophy. Hashtag B1 in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. Hashtag B1. Hashtag B1 means Black first. Also, do me a favor if you're watching online, please hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to drboycetv.com. It's the home for intelligent Black people. So the first thought is this. I don't see why Black people can't disagree on political issues and still love each other. Like, I just don't get that. I don't understand this whole, I'm not going to talk to you no more because I like Joe Biden and you don't, or because I'm a Trumper and you're not. I think that you have to be really careful about that, because that is white supremacy 101. That's actually what they've done all throughout the world, is divide Black people so they can conquer them. And so, it's okay if you pick your favorite political team or you grab onto your favorite avatar. We all connect to these avatars that we get because we grow up and we're born and we're just taught that Blackness means nothing, that you're nobody until a white man makes you somebody. So when he labels you, oh, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, or you work for Coca-Cola, you work for Walmart, or you went to Harvard, or you went to Brown, when they start slapping these labels on you, it ultimately creates these weird avatars that people wear. They got these costumes on and they end up really taking it personal. Like, really, like I hate you because I work for Coca-Cola and you work for Pepsi. Are you kidding me? Are you serious right now? Or I'm a Democrat, you're a Republican. I think that what you got to understand is that when the shit hits the fan in the Black community, when Black kids are being shot in the street, when Black children are not being educated, when Black wealth is declining every single year since 1968, pretty much on a consistent basis, those people are nowhere to be found. All these people that are invested in dividing you are not going to be there to support you. All those people that are getting you to pick a side are never going to pick your side. They're always going to pick their side. And in reality, if you look at, say, Nancy Pelosi and the Trumps and Steve Mnuchin and or the Democrats, the Clintons or whatever, at the end of the day, when they get done fighting as Democrats and Republicans, they go back to being rich white people. And there's nothing that they will ever commit to that will get them to the point where they undermine the power that they have as leaders of the most powerful nation on earth. They will never undermine their commitment to the greatest white supremacist organization in the history of the world, which is called the United States government. They're all going to walk away with millions of dollars in their 401ks. They're all going to go back to their mansions. They're all going to go, the Republican went to Yale and the Democrat went to Harvard, and they're all going to go back to being Ivy League educated white people after it's done. So I think it's extremely important that you also understand what your code is, or decide what your code is. My code is, if you're Black, as long as you care about building the Black community, I don't care what political party you're in. I don't care what college you went to. I don't care what corporation you work for. None of that's going to make me hate you unless you are deliberately sabotaging the community in some horrible way. And so that leads to my next point. One of the things that we've been talking about a lot this week, and I want to just address this on a regular basis so that we can make sure that we're having conversations about this, because I think intelligent dialogue is very important. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Business Week. Business Week wrote an article. It was about Ice Cube. And they said Ice Cube retweets an article that compares Joe Biden to Hitler. And I was like, it must have been my video I did, right? So I did a video. And what I did in the video was I explained the language that was used when Biden was doing the crime bill. I talked about the way he discussed Black people was in a way that was almost, savagely methodical, in the sense that it was almost diabolical in the way he talked about exterminating young Black kids. I mean, just the way he talked about it, right? He didn't say, he was doing a cleanup mission. He didn't say, we want to go and take out, 1 or 2 Black people, or we want to go and get a couple of, we want to go, like when they went to go get Osama bin Laden, it was like, we're going to go arrest this one guy or kill this one guy because he's a symbol. He wasn't going for symbolism. He was going for substance. He said, we're going to eliminate this problem. And he said, there's 100,000 of these people out here. Now, I thought he used the word super predator. Newsweek might have corrected me that the Clintons were using the term super predator, but Biden wasn't going out of his way to disagree with him, right? Again, this guy that you love, this guy that you think is so great, he wasn't going out of his way to correct him. I don't recall any correction, but he was using language that basically said there's 100,000 of these people out here who have no morals, no values. They come from single parent homes, and they're going to come get you. They're going to come kill you. He was creating a boogeyman that allowed him to get a crime bill passed that exterminated Black people. He put $10 billion into building more prisons and putting more cops on the street. And so what I'm always confused by is this notion, this belief that the guy who put $10 billion into putting 100,000 more cops on the street is supposed to be the guy that's supposed to protect Black people from the cops that are on the street. That part I don't get. I don't know how they're going to work that out. I honestly think that, it's not going to work out, right? But here's the thing. I mentioned that, and what I liked about the Newsweek article is that it wasn't like it was friendly to me or anything like that. I like the fact that they did something that white media does not typically do. They quoted me accurately. They put my words into context. They just laid out, they laid the story out in a fair way. And if and I've been in media, I've been in thousands of, different media outlets. You'd be amazed at how often white folks will just tell a lie that fits their agenda. You'd be amazed at how often people will do their best to minimize you to a caricature. I'm not a simple man. I'm not a one-dimensional man. I'm a complex man. I'm a man who thinks a lot. And imagine if we took Albert Einstein, or not to say that I'm Einstein, I'm not trying to big myself up here, but imagine if you took the smartest white people in America and reduced them to like these one-dimensional cartoon characters that, where you judge them on one sentence that they said 20 years ago, and then you can't even put it into any context. That's kind of what it's been like with white media. That's why I don't really care much about that media, because it's very, very racist. And so, at the end of the day, it's like, I don't really care if you agree with me or not, but when you start hiding facts, you start hiding truth, and you start deliberately manipulating people, in public in a certain way to shape a certain point of view, that's a real problem for me. I'm not a fan of that. I don't believe in that. And so shout out to Newsweek. They did a good job with the story. I don't think that they're right. I mean, I think that you can make direct parallels between Biden's mass incarceration agenda, which to put Black people into concentration camps. Most of them that went to prison were us. His son, his drug addicted son, smoked a whole lot of crack, made a whole lot of money, was rolling through a whole lot of hoods trying to score some crack, but he never went to prison. The people that went to prison were people from your family and my family, not his family. My biological father went to prison for drugs or drug-related stuff. I know a lot of people that got popped on drugs. With that said, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't done it yet, please hit the thumbs up button. Also, don't forget that this weekend, Friday, the All Black National Convention begins. It's going to be really great. And also, it's the best thing about the All Black National Convention is that it is not corporate sponsored. It is sponsored by Black people, by the Black community. So what we've done is the money that we've raised and different things that we're doing, we're paying for this convention out of our pocket. We do this every year. This is our 5th year doing the convention. So this is brought to you by Black people. So there is no corporation that will monitor what we say. There is no political party that can monitor what we say. That is very different from the NAACP convention. That is very different from the Urban League convention. That's very different from the Congressional Black Caucus convention. This is brought to you by Black people. And so we got some great people coming in. We got Vicky Dillard from Fly Nubian Queen, Lamar Tyler, who runs a group of multimillionaire Black business owners, who's going to talk to you a lot about wealth and things like that. Julian Gordon, who's actually leading a group of Black investors to buy up a big chunk of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Tariq Nasheed, who is building a Black movie industry with his Hidden Colors franchise that's made millions of dollars right there in the hood, right there in the Black community. George C. Frazier, who knows all about everything having to do with business and wealth. Attorney Nicole Compton, who's not just a brilliant legal scholar, but she's also a business startup specialist. Jade Arundel, who's an extraordinary activist, one of the best activists in this country. Constance Carter, who's a real estate mogul out of California. The list goes on and on. Dr. Nicole Price, Ryan McCrary out of Philly, Brother Nuri Muhammad, Dr. Ahmadiyya Shakur, Tina Berry, Rebecca Samuels, who's an accountant, Nomalenga Mushali Moses out of Botswana, and the list just goes on and on and on. These are awesome people that are going to come through. So if you'd like to join us, go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. Right, somebody type that in the chat so others can see it. It's allblacknationalconvention.com. Hey, Ronique, how are you? How you doing, sister? I love Ronique West. Ronique, I told Taryn to reach out to you because I'd like for you to be a part of the convention too. I'm sorry I didn't think about your sister, but I love you and I think you're amazing. And I think that you are an extraordinary Black leader. And I wanted to say that publicly. So everybody go follow. She's right there. Ronique M. West, Ronic M. West. All right. So a couple quick points I want to make about what's going on right now. One of the things I thought about while I was kind of laying around and Alicia and I were about to go running is I thought about what we're dealing with right now in the Black community. We're dealing with this interesting kind of civil war that is, to me, it reminds me of the opium wars. The opium wars occurred between Europeans and Chinese in the 19th century. Let me explain why what you're living through is kind of like the opium wars. You see, China had a big problem in the 19th century. China had a big problem because they had Europeans coming into China selling massive amounts of opium to the community. Now, before, opium was just something people smoked to get healthy or to heal if they were sick. But then opium became a problem like it is in the United States right now. Everybody was getting high. Everybody was smoking opium just almost like it was like their profession. So the Chinese, you had Chinese leadership who said, we can't, this is not good for the future of China. We cannot have our people sitting around getting high all day and not taking care of their families, getting high all day and not being productive, getting high all day and not educating themselves, etc. So they started shutting down the opium trade in China. You had leaders that stood up in the community and said, no more. You know, white supremacy was rampant back then, just like it is now. They were doing the same things then that they're doing right now. This is the origin of everything you're seeing right now in terms of how they go into your hood and sell you as much fried chicken as you can eat. At the next to the liquor store, or whatever, and come through and literally haul billions of dollars out of your community every year. They've been doing that all over the world. They were doing that in China at that time with the opium trade. So what happened was the Chinese leadership stood up. Some leaders were getting paid. Some members of the elite were being taken care of. So they weren't stopping nothing. They were actually helping the Europeans. But you have some leaders who said, this ain't right. We're not supporting this. This is a problem. So the opium wars happened. Now, the problem with the opium wars was that the Chinese leadership, those who cared about the future of China, had two problems. They had two enemies. They had to fight on two fronts. They had to fight the Europeans who came in. They were pissed. I mean, they came in with guns blazing, bombing, everything else. They put ships on the harbor and everything because they were messing up their money. They had to fight the Europeans. but they also had to fight their own people. You know, they didn't just have to fight the drug pushers, they had to fight the drug addicts. And anybody who's ever cleaned up a black neighborhood that's full of drugs has had that same problem. When Kenny Gamble in Philadelphia in the 1970s went back and bought up big chunks of the hood, so that he could actually own that property, his community could own that property before gentrification. We all could have done this. We just didn't. A lot of us weren't thinking that way, but he was thinking that way. He said, I had to fight not just the racists, but I had to fight the people in my own community who wanted our people to stay backward. You know, he said I had to fight the pimps, I had to fight the dope dealers, I had to let them know, if you don't get out of here by a certain time, if you don't stop doing this on this corner, then I cannot be responsible for what happens to you. So what I see right now is that we are going through in the black community something similar to the opium wars. It's similar to the opium wars because you've got people that are sucking on that pipe, the pipe of white supremacy. They hooked, they addicted. Some of them are addicts, some of them just gone. Some of them, they love the oppressor more than they love their own community. Some of them are making money from the process. Some of the members of the black elite are making money from some of these Democratic politicians that are destroying your community. Some of them are getting paid from this. So they have a direct incentive to stop anything that involves a righteous sort of revolution amongst the people, right? So they're sitting in the middle and they're making money from the dope coming into the community. They support all of this. So when we're fighting this, we have a battle on two fronts. You got a battle against racist white liberals who are making money by slanging dope in your community. It's a different kind of drug. The drug is this drug of false hope coming from Democrats or Republicans or whatever party that you're in, right? So that's one front that you have to fight. These people that allegedly love you, they only love you when you're sucking on that pipe. The only time they love you is when you high on the dope. When you walk away from the dope, they don't love you no more. When you walk away from the dope, they go from saying that they great things about you to saying that you're a sellout. I went on Ice Cube's page. I went on Ice Cube's Instagram and read the comments, and you'd be amazed at how many people said, "Oh, I used to love you. I loved you when you was a gangster rapper, but now that you're getting all political, now you're talking all this pro-black stuff, man. You ain't my hero no more. I don't like you no more. You're canceled, buddy. We're canceling you, buddy." Right? And so you had the battle on that front, but then you also have the battle from the black people who, for whatever reason, have just, again, this is an interesting thing, right? I don't think you have to agree with everything that's happening, right? You don't have to look at this and say, what Dr. Boyce is doing it makes sense. What Cube is doing is great. You don't have to agree with any of that. You can have your own perspective. I understand that balance between dealing with Trump versus dealing with long-term implications for the community. I can respect that. But here's what I don't understand. I do not understand this. Okay, how can I explain this? If black people are challenging the Democratic Party and asking for more from their vote, and let's say some of them don't even show up to the polls because they're just not feeling supported and protected by that party. The people that are going to lose the most are going to be leadership in the Democratic Party, right? They lose the White House. They're going to lose billions of dollars in resources. They're going to lose their power. They're going to lose a lot of stuff, right? Now, it seems to me that if they're the ones that are going to lose the most, they should be the ones really quickest to jump to the front lines to stop the revolution. They should be the ones jumping out there saying, like, let's get Ice Cube, Dr. Boyce, I'm coming after you. This ain't making no sense. But the first people on the front lines to fight their battle, it wasn't the white liberals. It was actually a lot of these Negroes. There's a lot of black people. Went out of their way, like stopped and parked the car and turned in the other direction and went around the block just so they can jump in front of the line to make sure they were the first ones to try to attack Ice Cube for speaking up on the black community. Negro, what's wrong with you? You crazy. You need to stop that stuff, boy. And it was the craziest thing. I'm sitting there thinking, it'd be one thing if you sat there and you just said, you know what? I don't agree with what Cube is doing. Like a lot of celebrities, pay attention now. I want you to pay very close attention to how many celebrities that have millions of people on their platform who have not expressed one word of support for Ice Cube. Like, that's fascinating to me. That's fascinating. I got a little platform. I got a few 100,000 people that follow me, but I ain't got nothing compared to some of these rappers. Some of these rappers got 10 million Instagram followers, ain't said a damn thing. ain't said nothing. That right there to me is something. If you really are paying attention, you should watch that. I think we should document who spoke up, what they said, right? Because you got different categories, right? You got the ride or dies who step out and say, you know what, I support Cube. Like Willie D. Willie D was on yesterday. Willie D from the Ghetto Boys. Willie D came in. Willie D said, I know what kind of person Ice Cube is. I support it. We had a little talk before the combo. I saw, I think Cube is going to be on Willie's show later on this week, so you should check that out. And so that's one category, right? You got the people that are like, you know what? I'm a block for you. You running the ball down to the end zone. I'm a block for you, and I'm gonna support you in every way that I can, right? Those are your real friends when you go to war. In case you don't know who your real friends are versus your fake friends. Your real friends are the ones who say, you know what, you're going straight to hell in a handbasket, but I'm gonna be right there with you. Okay. But then you've got the people who just haven't said a word, who just been silent, who are like, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to lose my movie deal. I don't want to, I don't want them talking bad about me. Right. So they just sitting there quiet. And I'm fascinated by how many people have not said a peep. I mean, I'm talking about people who will literally be all up in the media if they got a new album coming out or they got a new movie coming out. You've seen them on every show. They all on social media going crazy. But now that the heat is hot, now that the black people need them, now that black people need their celebrity support, they ain't saying nothing, right? Very fascinating, right? Very fascinating. That's an example of how. When I tell you guys, money does not liberate you. Having more money does not liberate you. I know a lot of multi-million-dollar slaves. I know some $10 million, $20 million, $30 million, billion-dollar slaves out here. Okay. The third level is that you got the black people. Third category, which is the majority of the black celebrities that are just doing what they're told. Right. Democratic Party calls them up, says, "Hey, we need you. The Hollywood studio that you got your next movie with. They are big donors of the Democrats. We need you to get your black ass on Instagram and tell everybody to vote. Don't tell them why. Don't give them no policies. Don't be trying to be all intelligent with black people. They don't like that, right? We don't need any of that intelligence. Don't be getting black people to think. We just want you to tell them to go to the polls and show up and vote, and that's it. Get your booty to the polls or whatever. We want you twerking a little bit, maybe get naked. I think they did one where they all got naked or whatever, right? Like, do what you can to make sure these Negroes show up so we can preserve our power. I just find that really fascinating that you got, and then of course you got the remainder. The remainder might just be people that are, which is very rare, people that are supporting Trump or not voting and things. Well, those who are not voting, that's actually a pretty big group, believe it or not. But then those who are Trump supporters, they're out there too, right? I think all those groups should be acknowledged and understood and analyzed because they're all part of our black family. They're all part of the community, and I like to just take notes. I'm very observant on who's doing what and when and how and why. Now, the interesting thing that I think we want to think about and you want to ask yourself is this, why would a black person go out of their way? I mean, like really go out of their way to make sure that another black person does not succeed when he's trying to actually do something for black people. I mean, I get it if you don't agree, but you're going out of your way. Like you're working harder than a Klansman to make sure that he gets stopped. We must stop Ice Cube. We can't let this Negro. What is that Negro doing? And it really does remind me of that scene in Django. Remember when Django rode up on the horse and Samuel L. Jackson, the rage was in his eyes, and he was so angry, like he was madder than the master when he saw Django riding on the horse. He said, "What is that nigga doing on that damn nag?" Like he was angry. Right. And it's fascinating to me how you have black people that will go out of their way, like will take a day off work just so they can go undermine a black person trying to do something righteous. Right. Like why do you have to volunteer to be on the front line to go assault and undermine Ice Cube? Why can't you just sit there and just see what happens? Why can't you just say, I don't agree? But good luck. He's black like me. It sounds like he's trying to do something good. We just have different approaches. But I'm just going to sit to the side. Well, my theory on this is this. My theory goes back to in Powernomics. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about something called meritorious manumission. Meritorious manumission basically explains why black people are trained to do the dirty work for the oppressor. It started back in slavery. So if you're out here cooning like that, if that's who you are and you're in that category, it really ain't your fault completely. It really ain't your fault. Blame it on the programming, right? Because if you go back and you study Meritorious manumission was basically a set of laws and procedures that rewarded Black people extensively for doing a few things. One, entertaining white people. That's why we have so many Black entertainers that just think they can make money by shaking their ass for white people or playing a sport for white people or making white people smile or whatever. Number two, they were rewarded for protecting white people, right? So now you're seeing Meritorious manumission jump in, not just from the entertainment, right? You got plenty of Black people that'll rap and sing and dance and act a damn fool to get you to go out to vote, get your booties to the poll. They literally have a lady shaking her butt, her booty's like jiggling, and they're trying to talk to you about, you know, about voting policy while the booty's jiggling in the other screen. I said, goddamn, they really must think every Black man in America has no attention span. It was very strange to me. And I'm speaking as a man who thinks booties are okay. I like booties, right? Not in a Don Lemon sort of way. I like booties that, like, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get myself in trouble here. But then number two, the other way that you actually get rewarded in Meritorious manumission was by protecting white people. You protect white people. So you see, I think I said, maybe I said it, maybe I didn't. Forgive me if I repeated myself. But protecting white people to me comes into play when you're talking about this whole situation where right now they feel under assault. Right now, the mass is nervous. Right now, they're like, oh shit, like, whoa, this guy, we gave these rappers this power, but we never thought they would actually use it for something intelligent or something constructive. We thought they were going to use it to teach people how to sing and dance and kill each other or waste all their money. But shit, now these rappers done grew up and they got 20 million Instagram followers and they're actually trying to speak intelligent shit. And then they're getting on the phone secretly with people like Louis Farrakhan or even myself. I talked to a few of them. I'm not going to say everybody's name because I'm not trying to blow up nobody's spot, right? And we're like saying, I'm saying, okay, you got 20 million Instagram followers. Here's something you might want to consider saying, right? Or like I was talking to Kanye, I said, you know, I really think it would be really cool if you tweeted Powernomics out right now. And I'll be damned if he did not tweet out an image of Powernomics with a statement that everybody should go look at that book. When you start letting truth out the bag and you start letting Black power out the bag, Black power is like the cat that runs out the front door. And once he gets out the front door, you're not going to get him back in the house. The Pandora's box has been opened. Black people have been given a pathway to liberation, in my opinion, that is unlike anything we've received in at least 30 or 40 years. For the first time since the 60s, we have openly, on a massive epic scale, again, on a Joe Biden type scale. Remember, he did mass incarceration on an industrial scale. We have industrial scale Blackness happening right now. And that is what excites the hell out of me, right? I'm serious. I'm so excited. Like, I'm like, ooh, mission accomplished. Our life's work is done. Maybe I'll get to do this for another 20 or 30, 40 years. I don't know, but it don't matter. I could die tomorrow with a smile on my face because I'm like, we did that shit. It's out now. Now you can't stop it. Dr. Edison was on the Breakfast Club, and millions of people are like, wait, you mean there's another way? You mean there's actually another? You mean I don't have to be a slave? You mean I could actually be smart? You mean I don't have to be a victim? I'm a Black man. You mean I can actually reclaim my manhood? You really think you're going to expose the greatest people in the history of this earth, the sturdiest motherfuckers on the planet? I mean, and when I say that, I really mean that. So think about this. Nobody else has survived the Middle Passage, the slave dungeons, 250 years of the most brutal slavery known to man, and another 100 years of Jim Crow, and another 40 years of mass incarceration, and still coming out shining, still coming out as the smartest kids in the room. Well, that's why, I mean, think about this. That's why you ever watch the NFL? And why does nobody talk about this? You watch the NFL, and it's like one group of Black superheroes taking on another group of Black superheroes. Like, these are guys that can jump like insanely high and ridiculously strong. Like, how is it that you're 300 pounds and you run the 40 in 4.4 seconds? That's superhuman. Why other people can't do that? I'm not even talking about white people, Asian people, nobody, even Africans. No, I mean, I love Africa, right? But we are We are the closest thing. I believe that African American people, descendants of slaves, I kid you not, I swear to God, I believe it to the core of my soul. We're the closest thing on this earth to superheroes that exists anywhere. Like, we literally have the ability to do things that other people cannot do. So now that you've unleashed truth and power to a group of people that have always had the power but just didn't know it, the game's over, man. The game's over. I told Willie D last night, I said, man, we already won this damn election. I don't care if a Democrat's in the White House or a Republican. It won't matter. It don't matter. Who's in the White House don't matter. What matters is who's in the Black House. So you see, the Black House is your house. The Black House is right here, right? So who's in the White House does not matter to me as much as who's in the Black House. Because I know for a fact that when Black people have our mind right, those of us, not everybody, right? You're gonna have the buffoons out here, right? But really, they don't know who the hell they are. They're not worthy adversaries. You can easily change their mind, right? I'm just telling you. I analyze people, and they don't really have any sturdiness in terms of who they are, their convictions. Yeah, don't worry about that. I think that Black people, when we decide what we want to do, we really cannot be stopped. I just really believe that. So remember, Meritorious manumission. I said there were three things. I gave you two. One, you got rewarded during slavery for entertaining white people. Two, you got rewarded for protecting white people, which you see a lot of people running out to protect Massa Biden right now because of this whole Ice Cube thing. Like they are, they're not doing their own dirty work. They're doing it for them. And when Cornel West was going after Barack Obama, the Obama administration didn't respond to Cornel West. They got Black people to go and attack Cornel. They, in particular, the main two were Michael Eric Dyson, unfortunately, which broke my heart. I love Michael Eric Dyson, but I hate to see that. Michael Eric Dyson and that lady, Melissa Harris Perry. Those were two scholars. They said, here's your weapons. We're going to arm you like a rebel group. We're going to arm you, and we want you to go assassinate this guy. And what bothered me about it was that they could have, challenged Cornel West. They could have made their point of view clear without seeking to completely undermine his credibility in every way imaginable. That's the part that bothered me, was that why must your critique of him come with what appears to be an effort to cancel him? Must you assassinate and cancel a Black person who has done good work just because you don't agree on what's happening in the White House? That's something that is appalling. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense to me. I don't get it. Last piece, the last reason you would get rewarded during Meritorious manumission, which is a big deal. This is all in Powernomics and Black Labor, White Wealth. These are books I keep around because I just love these books. Is you got rewarded for telling on other slaves, for ending slave revolts. So basically, right now, what you're seeing with this whole thing with Ice Cube is you're seeing a slave revolt. And there are Black folks lining up to get what might also be called butter biscuits. Everybody's fighting for the Vicky Dillon Award. We got Vicky Dillon created this little award with a little dog. It's a little dog trying to get to a coon. And so this is the Butter Biscuit Meritorious Manumission Award she created. And everybody's fighting for this award like it's a fucking Oscar. Like this is like the Academy Award for backward Negroes right now. And everybody's competing. It's going to be so tough to pick a winner this year. My God, the competition is pretty stiff. And so at the end of the day, I think that's what I don't understand is why are you so mad? Like, why are you fighting so hard, to try to undermine what this brother's doing? Why not just sit there in silence and say, I don't agree, but I respect your right to believe what you believe? Like, why can't you do that? Why can't you just say, you know what, good luck. If you can get something out of these damn Democrats, then that'll actually help me. And I'm going to tell you this, the more rational, intelligent, more Black conscious members of the Democratic elite, Democratic Party members who really truly care about the Black community, because I do believe that there are some Black folks in there that really want to do the right thing. They've actually thanked people like Ice Cube, because when you put that outside pressure on them, it makes it easier for them to sit down and get something out of them at the negotiating table. Because people don't give up things to people that are too nice. They don't give up things to people that are pushovers. They give up things to people when they are forced to, right? So when they're like, damn, goddamn, I wish you would stop putting that pressure on us. This is really outrageous. This is unbelievable. After they finish getting offended, they give you what you want, because it's usually the squeaky wheel that gets the oil. It's the most unreasonable person in the room that gets the most concessions. I did I did an analysis on this. If you go to drboystv.com, I broke down the rules of negotiation, how you negotiate, and I explained very clearly using science, the science of negotiation from leading experts, why Black people have lost the negotiating game when it comes to the Democratic Party. Why they don't respect us as negotiators, because you're doing it all wrong, because you cannot really negotiate with somebody if you are trying to seek their approval at the same time, because you're already giving away negotiating leverage when you walk in the door. Because if I know that your goal, your first objective is to get me to like you, then I'm going to say, you know what, I really do like you. And that's my first concession. Right there, that's the first thing you're gonna, and that might be the only thing you get from me is my approval. You won't get anything else because you walked in and you overpaid for something that wasn't worth anything, right? So we will give up our negotiating leverage for a couple of things. One is our self-esteem. You know, when the Democrats tell us that they like us, so they spray paint Black Lives Matter on the building, we get all excited and we think the Lordy Jesus, they likes us now, right? And then they say, okay, that's one thing we've done for the Negroes. And then the second thing is, protection. They create these false, scary myths, right? You know, like they'll say, you know, we'll protect unarmed Black men from being killed by the cops. And you're like, okay, well then that's important. Yeah, you need to protect Black people from unarmed Black men from these cops. Which fine. I mean, I agree with criminal justice, but here's the thing. Here's the problem. Here's the thing I want you to break down. How many unarmed Black men were shot and killed by the cops last year? Can anybody guess? Guess. I want you to guess in the chat. Like now we have a nation of 330 million people. There's 40 million Black people in America, right? And they've been talking so much about unarmed Black men being shot by the cops. How many, according to the Washington Post, in 2019, how many unarmed Black men were murdered by police? I'll wait. Give me your answer. Hit the thumbs up button, by the way. If you haven't done it, please hit the thumbs up button. Okay. I see 100 something. I see 40. Give me some more numbers. 120, 200 plus, 1,000, 18. Okay, let's see. What else we got? Give me another 9 or 19. The number is actually 14. I just looked it up. The number is 14. Now, 14 is, you know, that's 14 too high, right? 14 is 14 too many, for sure. But you're talking about a nation of 40 million people. 40 million people. And if you really wanted to make a list of all the things that plague Black people, and I made a list of all the ways that Black people die every year, you know, what would that list look like? There will be thousands of Black people dying from heart disease and diabetes and strokes because they're feeding all this horrible food in the hood. There are thousands of Black men that are and women that are in prison right now, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of them that are being tortured, beaten, and raped in prison right now, hundreds of thousands of them. And we're ignoring all of them because they're like, well, we got you. We're going to talk about your 14. We're not even going to save them. We're just going to make this into the biggest issue in the world so that when we come in and say, oh, we're going to save 14 people, you're like, yeah, oh, Lord Jesus, I'm going to give you my vote. I don't want 14 people saved. I want at least 14,000. I don't want 14. Maybe give me 140. Take 14 and shove it up your ass. And I want you to multiply 14 by 10,000 and give me 140,000 Black people that you're going to let out of prison. And you know what? And we can get around to the other 14 later on. Like, give me that 140,000 that have been locked up on dope charges, getting beaten and raped every day in prison right now because they got locked up in the 1990s on some Joe Biden stuff, 3 strikes law, all that shit. Give me 140,000 political prisoners out of prison right now. I'll give you my vote. But 14 is not a big number, right? So I want to say this, and this is really something that I think intelligent people can process. Emotional people, I don't know if I work so well with them because I might get on your nerves because I'm not telling you what you want to hear. But I think that we have to be more logical when it comes to how we deal with political parties, because what they'll do is, you know, and this is a negotiating strategy. You create a problem and then you offer to solve the problem, which by me offering to solve that tiny little problem I just created, then that gives me one less thing I have to give to you so that we'll never get around to the big shit. We'll never get around to the motherfucking money. Like, you never get around to the $14 trillion they owe you because they're like, well, shoot, I mean, we saved 14 Black people. And we saved you from the corona, and we saved you from Trump. Like, what else do you people want? Right? Well, I negotiate differently. I would say, you know what? Trump, first of all, Trump is your problem. It's not my problem. Another 4 years of Trump, that's what you're afraid of. I'm not afraid of that. I'm a black man. We've survived a lot. I think Biden said he's the most racist president in American history. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious right now? Do you know we have presidents who own slaves? How the fuck is he the most racist president in American history when we've had presidents who own slaves? You clearly need to go take a history class. But anyway, Trump is not my problem. Trump is your problem. So you solve your problem. You spend your resources solving your problem. I want to solve the problems that matter to us. So instead of, I know you offered to get Trump out of office. That's your problem, not mine. Two, you offered to save 14 people from being killed by the police. Okay, we can put that on the list, but that's not going to be the top of the list. I got other things I need to talk about. And then also you're gonna complain. You're gonna talk about the black people dying from corona. Not that you have anything specific that you're gonna do to protect black people, but remember a few months ago I was talking about the mass promotion through media of obesity. With artists like Lizzo telling everybody that it's okay and it's really good to be fat, that being obese is body positivity. Well, that's probably killing hundreds of thousands of people every year. So maybe we can start there and save 100,000 lives before we get down to saving a few hundred lives or 2,000 lives or whatever, right? So then what I would say is let's go straight to the jugular. Let's go to the important issue. The important issue is I want to start the negotiation with you releasing 140,000 political prisoners who were locked up, under the Joe Biden mass incarceration Holocaust. When Joe Biden, Bill Clinton signed that crime bill, and they pushed forward to say that our goal is to get at least 100,000 of these people off the street, and you know who they were talking about, then that has destroyed our community because a lot of little girls are being, molested by their mother's boyfriends because their daddy is locked up. A lot of little children are ending up in the streets or, joining gangs because their daddy been locked up since the 90s, right? So we need 140,000 out. That needs to be our number. We need big numbers, not little ones. Let's talk about the money. So after we talk about the political prisoners, you give me 140,000 of those. Let's talk about the money. You owe us $14.7 trillion. Now, I know you can't pay that all right now, but we will accept a down payment of about 1.5 trillion directed specifically to the black community, not to minority community. That's your problem. That's your people. Not to people of color. That's not our people. That's your people. Not to diverse communities. That's your people. You can do what you want with them if you want. We after you finish telling me what you're going to do for minorities and diverse people and people of color, I'm going to say, okay, now that you've done everything for them, what are you going to do for black people? Because you haven't mentioned black people yet, which means in my mind that your score is now 0. You've offered nothing at this point. So the negotiation is going to start at 0 because you mentioned minorities, people of color, and diverse people, but you never said anything about black folk. Black folk are different. We are descendants of slaves. We had a unique experience. They did not make people into slaves because they came from across the border from Mexico. They can go to Mexico to get their money. Tell them to go the fuck back to Mexico. In fact, how about this? You know what? Maybe I'll even sound like you can probably call me a Trump supporter for saying that. How about we just, go ahead and minimize immigration from south of the border, maximize immigration from Africa and black countries. But then on top of that, maybe before we even do any immigration, maybe we should take care of the people that are right here that built this damn country. How about we talk about the people whose grandmothers and grandfathers and great-grandparents, etc., died building this country, right? They did not die so we could vote. You killed them, and then you wrote a story about why they died. First of all, you talk about them dying like they chose to die. They didn't choose to die. A lot of them, you chose to kill them. That's actually what happened. So let's be clear about that. But then also the fact that they died is not a call for voting. The fact that they died, they were killed by white people. So the reason they died is so you can go vote for more white people. Like the reason that your ancestors died, the reason your ancestors were killed by white people is so that you can have the right and ability to go give more power to more white people. That's about the sickest shit ever. Like seriously, like why would a murderer be like, well, the reason that your whole family got murdered is because they wanted you to give me money. Like really, I mean, that's so crazy to me. So no, my ancestors died for reasons that you have nothing to do with, except for the fact that you killed them. And then also, the fact that they died is not a call for voting as much as it is a call for reparations. So if you want me to vote, which I'm okay with voting, I can do that, but I will vote for reparations. Like, so give me reparations and then you'll have my vote. It's easy, right? 2 plus 2 is 4. Right? It's easy. Very simple process. Right? Makes sense, right? Like you give me reparations, I give you my vote. You give me nothing, I give you nothing. Why is that such a radical thing to say? Why is that just over the head of so many people? Why does that just come off as like, oh my God, doctor, you're talking crazy. This is insane. You need mental health. What? Because I said, you give me something, I'll give you something. You give me nothing, I'll give you nothing. I hate to bust your bubble, black people, but that's what equality actually looks like. That's what freedom looks like. The freedom is not you give me nothing and I give you something. That's what they call empowernomics. Dr. Anderson has a term for that. He calls that the doctrine of unequal exchange. The doctrine of unequal exchange. If you ever want to know why black people always feel like we're getting royally fucked, if you ever want to know why black people always feel like we're the brokest people in the room and why we're the ones who are struggling the most, it's because we've engaged consistently in exactly what we're being asked to engage in right now, which is the doctrine of unequal exchange. The doctrine of unequal exchange says that you give away something valuable and they give you something cheap. You give away everything, they give you nothing. So I'm just gonna say this to you. Some of y'all ready for it. Some people are still, their heads are still exploding because they're not used to this. They're not used to, I think we talk about freedom and equality, but they don't even know what it looks like. I mean, seriously, they'll figure it out in about 20 years. But basically right now, all people are saying is, treat us the way you want us to treat you. You want something from us? Well, we need something from you. If you can't do something for us, then that's okay. We're not even going to get mad at you. We're just going to be over here building, and maybe we'll catch you in the next election. Good luck having another 4 years of Trump. Sounds like that's going to be pretty stressful for you. All right. So anyway, I'm going to go, guys. Do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And some of y'all asked me about my books, and I don't talk about them much, but here's one of my books, actually. It's called The New Black Power. It's a collection of essays that I wrote, stuff like that. If you go to drboycebooks.com, you can feel free to take a look. And it's just me. If you're interested in some of my thoughts on a lot of issues, feel free to go take a look. It's drboycebooks.com. And also, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button. And last but not least, the All Black National Convention happens starting Friday. We got a lot of great people coming through. Shannon Stewart, a financial expert, is coming through. Jeff Lightsey Jr., a sports analyst. Little Stephen A. Rick Mathis, the filmmaker out of Atlanta. Faye Bishop, an extraordinary thinker that you've seen all over the place. Teslin Figaro. We got a lot of powerful women. Tariq Nasheed is coming through. Nomalenga Mushali Moses, Dr. Ahmadiyya Shakur, Nuri Muhammad, Dr. Nicole Price, Constance Carter, Vicky Dillard, George C. Frazier, and more. So if you'd like to join us, go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That is allblacknationalconvention.com. Thank you guys for listening. It was wonderful talking to you, and I hope you guys have a great day. And thank you for not making fun of me. I'm still learning how to talk after my dental stuff. It's like a 6-month process. So if I sound a little bit different, then that's why. So anyway, I'll see you guys later. Take care. Be good. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, 10, 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV.